What's up, y'all? It's your girl El Rochelle here for Hardwood Diva. And I told you last week that I was going to be bringing you more videos, more content. So first up, we've got Hardwood Diva Sports News of the Week. We're going to try and do this for you every Monday or Tuesday. Kind of get some of those stories that ended the week over the weekend. And then just kind of get you guys caught up on what's new and what everyone's talking about. So first up, we've got one of the biggest stories of the week, which was Grambling State's boycott. Now, if you haven't been following, Grambling State hasn't been doing too well over the last couple of seasons, but they fired their coach, Doug Williams, earlier in the season. I believe it was around like September 11th, and everything sort of came to a head last week. There were issues that were voiced to the student government and to the actual admins of the college. However, the football team felt like those issues weren't being addressed. A lot of those issues were things like not having enough money to actually travel by air to games. So they were traveling sometimes 15 hours to games, which of course that's not going to help you win any games because you're so fatigued. There's a lot of fatigue involved when you're sitting on a bus cramped. Because if you can't get enough money to fly air, then you're not flying in the best of buses. It's not like you're flying on this like exclusive Mercedes Sprinter. You're flying, you're traveling on these small buses. And a lot of and they felt like that was really unfair because their rivals, the teams they were going against weren't having to do the same thing. They were able to get there, be in luxury, be in comfort, and then get out and play the games. These kids are already not making any money for this. Then for them to have to be cramped and just in a lot of poor conditions. There were a lot of poor conditions in their locker rooms, in their weight rooms. Students even got fired. The editor of, I believe it was the editor of the newspaper for Grambling State actually was fired because of exposing the conditions of their locker room and weight room. These are things, you wouldn't even see at some of the worst high schools. Ripped up benches, infections. Kids were getting infections and the school wasn't saying anything about it. So they decided last week they weren't going to go to practice. They walked out on a meeting with the admins for the school and they voiced their concerns. They said, we're not going to play, which to me is the NCAA's worst nightmare. What if students start realizing they have the power in this situation? No, they're not making money, but they're making money for the school. They don't show up. What happens? Just like that, there's no game. Jackson State doesn't get their, which was the team they were supposed to play this Saturday. They don't get their homecoming game. And it sucks for them that they kind of got pulled into this madness. But let's be honest, these kids have to, do what they have to do for their own personal survival. If we're not going to get the things that we need just to be on the campus, just to be successful, we're not even talking about money. We're just talking about simple things to help us be successful as a football team. If we can't get those, then we're not going to play. So they decided not to play. After talking with some people, they then made the decision to come back to practice. They went back to practice yesterday. But I think they felt that their voice was heard. I know one of the main things they do want is they want the president of the school gone. Resigned, fired, whatever. But they need him gone. Because they don't feel like he has a heart for the athletics or he has a heart at all for the students of the school. Because budgeting has been poor for the school. They've lost a lot of money from the state. And it's not just their football program. It's their entire school has lost this money. So they're wanting to see some improvements and they want to see some stuff that looks like these people actually care about their school. So that was one of the biggest stories. So it's going to just be something that people continue to watch. It's made national news. ESPN actually had a reporter out there all day yesterday reporting on Grambling State. That's rare. So they actually are doing something. And this could very well be the catalyst for many other boycotts, whether it's about students not getting paid or some of the ridiculousness of the NCAA rules. We're going to see a lot in these next years. And I think this is just the beginning. Next up, we had the deaths of two pretty important Houston Oilers organization folks First up, Bum Phillips, who's actually the father of Wade Phillips, passed away this past weekend at 90 years old. And just after that news, then we find out that Bud Adams, who is actually the former Houston Oilers owner, and then went on, took the team to Tennessee with the Titans, he passed away also at age 90. So the Houston area, of course, is reeling. Both of these guys were beloved by the Houston area. Bud Adams was one of the longest, was the longest tenured NFL owner. So a lot of people were really sad to see them go. The NFL's weekend, week 7, had some pretty important injuries, major injuries. Jay Cutler, my fantasy quarterback, y'all. And I'm sad that he got hurt, but I got negative 0.8 points from him. My quarterbacks don't like me. They just don't. Nobody wants to stay. Nobody wants to be on my team, apparently. They do everything to get off of it. But back to Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler, injured. Out at least 4 weeks with a groin injury. Sam Bradford, the Rams quarterback, tore his ACL and is now out for the season. I mean, the poor Rams, they looking at everybody. Matt Leinart, all the clipboard kids. Heck, they've even talked about Tim Tebow. Now, you know you got to be desperate to talk about Tim Tebow. And then after an awesome win for the Colts, they find out that Reggie Wayne, their top wide receiver, is now out with an ACL injury. He's going to be done for the season, and this is a really, really tough one. He's been really good for Andrew Luck in helping him to develop by having someone that he can go to. So this should be interesting. Also, Philadelphia, Nick Foles got knocked out of the game. They had to go to Matt Barkley. Oh, poor Matt. Poor Matt. Luckily, Vic should be back this week, so Philadelphia shouldn't have too much of a fall off. Not that they did too well anyway, but, you know, those are just a few of the many injuries that happened over the weekend that were quite devastating, that were pretty big for some NFL teams. The World Series, it is set. No, my Los Angeles Dodgers are not in it because I won't talk about how poorly they played in that Game 6. They were terrible to watch. And I was embarrassed. I stopped watching. I couldn't watch it anymore. It was really bad. But the St. Louis Cardinals, who beat the Los Angeles Dodgers, will be going up against the Boston Red Sox. I like the Sox. I think this is really cool. Former ASU baseball player Dustin Pedroia is on the Red Sox team, so I guess I'm going to go with the Red Sox. They start this Wednesday, which is tomorrow, in Boston. So they have 2 games in Boston, Wednesday and Thursday. It's going to be a pretty interesting series. The Cardinals are not up there in pay when it comes to baseball, but no, it's very few teams that have these large payrolls have been winning the last decade or so. So it's going to be interesting to watch the Cardinals up against the Red Sox, which has a pretty large payroll itself. We're going to see what's out there. I don't know too many people that predicted the Red Sox to actually get to the World Series this year, but they came on pretty strong in the last part of the last half of the season. So I think that's going to be pretty good. Pretty good series. I can't wait to see it. So look out tomorrow, Wednesday. I believe coverage starts at 4:30 p.m. Pacific, and the game, the first pitch is actually at 5:07 or something like that. But look out for that tomorrow. One of the just kind of quirky news items, especially here in LA, the Clippers covered the Lakers banners in Staples Center. Now, of course, this is kind of my fair or foul question. I have my idea of what it is. I know a lot of Laker fans hate it and are upset by it. I mean, I understand in a sense because those are your banners and you feel like they should be there all the time. But the problem is you've allowed the Clippers to be in your arena. So when they have home games, to me, a truly competitive team doesn't want to look up and see another team's banners. So yes, they put up selfies, as people has been calling them on Instagram. But to me, those are only going to be covered up during Clippers games. What does it matter if you're like 2 Lakers fans? They're not up there. A truly competitive team, they're not, like I said, they're not going to want to see those banners up during their games. So these are their games. Let them do their thing during their games. They already got to deal with those purple seats. Let them do what's important to them. They're trying to establish a legacy. They are the only team that plays in the Staples Center that don't have a banner. Well, outside of that, what did they win last year? Pacific Division or something like that? Outside of that banner, they don't have any championship banners in there. So this is important for them. I know Lakers fans don't care about what's important for Clippers. They only care about what's important for Lakers. But until you guys, are separate in arenas, then they're going to need to do what's important for them. And if the Lakers organization didn't have a problem, why should you? Also, your Lakers put you in this position. Do you think that if the Clippers thought they were better than the Lakers, they would feel comfortable? If they didn't think that, would they feel comfortable doing that? No. But y'all have made some poor decisions in the last few years that have given you a low ranking in the Western Conference. No one believes in the Lakers outside of Lakers fans. And even some of y'all don't believe in the Lakers. So, Clippers are like, you know what? We're the big dog right now. Maybe not necessarily in legacy, but we're the big dog as far as playing basketball this season. So, we're going to do what's necessary for our team. So, that's what they're doing. I think it's fair. I can understand why Lakers fans are a little bit upset. But I'm really interested in the fact, like, how pissed off people really seem to be. Like, it's really not that big a deal. Calm down. But I think it's because you guys know that the play on the court has been a little lackluster. That's all y'all got right now is banners. Just banners. And I know the hate is going to come from all of my friends after they see this video. But let's be real. The lackluster on-court play of your Lakers is the reason y'all are so riled up. Because all you got is those banners right now. And it's hurting your heart that they covering it up. Well, that's Hardwood Diva Sports News of the Week. I love y'all. Tune in next week. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Love you. Deuces.